Good stuff. Excellent. Fantastic. So hopefully you can see what I can see here now. And I just want to make sure that's fine. There we go. So yeah, that's been wonderful. What another absolutely fantastic day. I didn't think that the panels could get any better, but they have. It was wonderful to see everyone from Howard to Dean to Anu, all wonderful stuff. So here we have it. The first of the awesome panels from today. This was obviously the what next, the future of organizations. Now I couldn't help but resist to add the keynotes, really important point here about, annual budgeting. And the fact that, our budget being based on the orbit of the sun is possibly not the most innovative way to think about planning. And I'm really glad that I made the decision to do that, as Evan quite rightly brought it into the first panel. So some wonderful things said by all. And the way in which culture has changed, COVID has supported us to work differently, think differently, and I think that's really, really key. So remote working is the new norm, but as Anu and everyone in the last panel was saying, there is no such thing as norm, right? So what is normal? So what do we look at when we think about the management of the way in which we're going to look at organizations? Well, distributed leadership came up. This focus again on people, teams. It was the salient point yesterday. It remains the salient point today. Focusing on human behaviors, on people, and allowing teams to make decisions. Teams can sense change. If you are the leader of your organization and you're taking that sort of holacracy approach, the hierarchical approach, by the time you speak to the teams, they've already made decisions. The decisions need to start there with the teams. We need to be purpose-driven. And lots of stuff then that came from strategic planning. Now, strategic planning isn't necessarily a no-no. In fact, it's one way in which we can get a level of alignment, which is critical in Agile. But it's creating that North Star, the way in which the focus isn't really on planning, but direction. And as Howard said, focusing on options. So there we have it. I'll leave that just there for 1 minute, give you a second to take that in. There we are. And then what I will do is bring you over to here. So here we have the Agile, where to from here. Now, this was incredibly exciting with Dean and everyone else there together to look into this really important panel. The focus, outcomes and improvement, not just focusing on outputs, but outcomes. We've learned a lot about, through COVID, we've learned lots. COVID has actually been a bit of a boot camp for Agile. Maybe we as a community, as Agilists, maybe we're actually now educating the world into the way we work, how we're being responsive to change, how we're innovating, how we're changing and adapting. And businesses can adapt and they can still survive by embracing this way of working. So unfortunately, Dean said he couldn't see into the future, but he can understand market rhythms and trends. This brings customer centricity, human-centered design right back into the mix. And that was another thing that's been salient over the last 2 days is innovation. Innovation has been really, really important and a central part. So labels may change, lean, agile, they might change, but the principles that pull and bind all of these awesome methods and frameworks together are the principles. And what the future is for us is continuous improvement, new learning and relearning. Yeah, that's the thing, not fixed, but a growth mindset, and that is all part of our journey. So lots of other really awesome things said about people. Again, we need to mine for the enthusiasm of our people. And again, to be innovative, to think externally and internally, we need to think about human-centric managing. Everything is innovation. Everything, bringing it back to the way we work. Servant leadership, of course, is down to empowerment. And a really interesting thing there on certification. Is certification a bad or a good thing? Well, let's take that question off the table and let's focus on learning, and let's focus on growth. As you may know, if you've seen me before, I'm a rather enthusiastic gentleman. And so if you want to look at this in slow-mo, I'll be sharing these pictures with you later on. I'll just turn that up to apologise. There we have it. So one more picture here. And there we have it. We have the future of work. Anu took that wonderful, wonderful last section there onto the future of work. And really beautifully said, learning creates permanent change. We are all human, right? We create safe human spaces. Really important stuff. Again, COVID is really supporting us to learn fast. That's the real key thing here. And with procurement, we wouldn't expect somebody to say, here's your lifelong partner, right? So in exactly the same approach with procurement, we need to change our approaches. Collective learning is possible remotely, but what we're already finding is that whilst remote working is in fact allowing us to collaborate effectively, and I can, as a trainer and coach, I too have experienced the sort of the power of collaboration online. There's some amazing tools that we can use, but what we're really lacking is that human interaction, and in fact knowing through cognitive dissonance that we're not really speaking to someone, we're in front of a camera. So a really good example and good advice was actually to maybe turn the camera off and just get the phone out. So there's some difficulties that we still face virtually, but it's not a case of remote or face-to-face. It's a case of what are the things that we should do remotely, and what are the sorts of things that we could do face-to-face. And when we are face-to-face, that's when we focus on tribal bonding. That's when we focus on the true collaboration. And maybe we're more effective now, and maybe we're more efficient at embracing those moments when we do get to see each other. So there we have it. There's my sound bites. I'm sure you guys have your own. Please share them on Twitter and LinkedIn. That's my own cognitive bias. This is just my synthesis. I'd love to hear more of yours. I will be sharing this with our Slack groups. I will be sharing this with social media. Back to my brother in Portugal, Hugo, and thank you for making this a wonderful World Agility